Welcome to Grown Folk Talk with Patrice. It is my pleasure to be here and thank you for joining me. So tonight we have a great topic. So those of you who are parents, you might want to sit down, turn off everything else and tune in because we are talking about parenting with a purpose on this show, on this segment of Grown Folk Talk with Patrice. So if you Google parenting, you will get the activity of bringing up a child as a parent. That's it. Not too detailed, not a whole lot to go with it. And although I don't have children of my own, I have been around so many children that I understand it is not the easiest job. So sometimes we look at children and we wonder who's parenting them, who's raising them, who's doing a good job, who's not. And while it would be wonderful to have a blueprint, a handbook, or something of a one-size-fits-all, obviously that's not going to happen. So I have in studio with me my guest who is here to talk to us about parenting with a purpose. And she happens to know a bit about parenting. So my guest is Shantia Frobert.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, Shantia. So those of you who know me know Shantia is my niece. And she is a 42-year-old, maybe 43-ish, almost, not quite. 42-year-old mother of 4 amazing children. And so first it is Zion, or Zai as we call him, who is 19, will be 20 this year. And he would be mortified to know that his mother is referring to him as a child.
Definitely.
But yes, he will have a meltdown, but he's her child. And then under Zai is Shania, or Shy, who is 16. And then there's Marley, or Boogie, or Baby J, who is 11. And then there is the boss, Zara, who is 2. Will soon be 3. So 4 children between 2 and 19.
Yes.
Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Shantia is also a police officer and has been for nearly 24 years. And she is the owner of Bermuda's newest kids spa, Blossom Youth Spa, down there in St. George's. So that's a lot.
It is.
So you're a mom, a police officer, 4 children. I'm sorry, a mom with 4 children, police officer, and entrepreneur as the owner of a spa.
And you said it in the right order.
Yes, of course, of course. So how do you not only do it all, but how do you get it right? Or do you get it right?
To be honest, I'm still learning. I learn as I go. So I cannot say that I'm perfect in what I do.
Right.
But I try. And every day I learn something new.
About parenting.
About parenting.
Because your children's personalities are all different.
Yes, they are. They definitely are. We'll start with Zai. So Zai is a real gentleman.
Yes.
He's going 20 this year, and I don't have to ask for anything. He's always offering to help with anything when he is here, because he is overseas.
Right.
But a real gentleman he is. Then there's Shania, who is her own little personality in itself. Marley, who at one point, if you know Marley, was wild. She was a wild child and, free spirit and just didn't care about what people thought about her or what she did.
And sing in front of people, right?
And oddly enough, she made a switch and she changed, and she is this quiet, humble, little peaceful soul who, if you say boo to her, she looks like she'll jump out of her clothes.
Right.
But she's definitely a sweet child. And then there's Zara, the boss.
The boss. Zara, the boss. Yes.
Zara, the boss. And I call her that because that's exactly what she is.
So Zara came when you were 40.
Yes, and I don't know what I was thinking, if I was thinking at all, but I had this thought that I wanted to have one more child before I turned 40, and that's what I did. And there is Zara.
And here is Zara. So you've been parenting for almost 20 years.
That sounds bad.
I know, but it is what it is. You've been parenting for almost 20. Zai will be 20 this year.
So I'm a veteran at this.
You are a veteran. That's why I invited you on the show, because you hear it, I hear it. Mm-hmm. People will say to you, how do you do it? How do you do fill in the blanks with your children? How do you get your children to do whatever? So you've told us about their little personalities, not in detail, but how have you managed to work as you do, raise your children who people, and I'm not going to say it because I'm their great aunt. Mm-hmm. People who say to you, your children are so well mannered and so respectful and so well behaved. How does that happen?
So we'll start with how did I manage with the working and dealing with the children. So initially, when I became a police officer, I didn't have any children. I was working shift work, and then Zai came along, and at that time I had a lot, and not to say that I don't now, but at that time I needed a lot of family support, and I got that. So I was able to continue working shifts. I was able to keep doing what I had to do in order to make money for him and not have to tell my job about I can't come to work because I don't have a babysitter. So I never made excuses. I always did what I had to do to get to work. And then Shai came along, and the rest, Marley and Zara came along. But now I'm in a space where I don't have to have as much family support in the role that I have at my job, so it makes it a lot easier. But the family support was big for me.
Well, I will say that I have said this from the beginning, that so your family was there for you and your children, and you never took that for granted, and you never took advantage of it. And you had said sometimes your friends will say to you, oh, you never want to go out, you never want to go anywhere, and you would say, I'm saving my babysitters for when I'm working.
And I had to. So I knew that it's either get your family to help you on these 4 days that you have to work, or get them to help you to go out. So at the end of the day, I had to scale back on my social life a lot.
Right.
To do what I had to do for my children and myself, really.
Right. So that you could stay organized and keep them in some structure, because your schedule was out of whack, meaning you didn't have a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. You had a crazy schedule.
I did. And Zai, mainly Zai, probably felt it the most, because it was times he had to be picked up 6:30 in the morning so that I could make early time to work in St. George's, and times he had to be up late. So it was a lot of back and forth for him. Right. But I managed.
Okay. All right. So, and as you said, Zai lives overseas. He's overseas in college. I find that hard to say. He's in college, living with his dad and his stepmom. So, but are you still parenting him from a distance? I mean, he's almost 20 and he's living with his dad. So how much parenting are you still doing?
Not much. I mean, we communicate daily. Yes. Daily. But as far as, like I said, I don't have to say much to him. Right. It's not like I have to, Zai, are you doing this? Or are you doing that? Or why are you doing it's none of that. None of that. So
he does what he has to do.
And they all do, but specifically him makes my life easy.
Oh, well, that's good.
And he's a boy, right? So people say, oh, parenting boys is hard. And I've never experienced a period with him where I felt that parenting a male was hard.
Isn't it what you make it, though?
Definitely. And I think a lot of it comes down to making excuses. So I never made excuses for anything that he did. Not that he's done anything bad in his lifetime, but anything that he did, it wasn't like, oh, well, he's doing this because he's tired, or he's doing this because his father and I aren't together, but I never made excuses. I held him accountable for anything that he did, and he knew that he had to be accountable for his own actions. Right.
I remember an incident where he was to meet Shania on the bus, and the bus came and Zai wasn't on the bus. And so it was the whole, where's Zai? And anyway, you went to the school. He had been given detention. His whole group of them got a detention. And Zai, you were riding the police bike then.
Yes, I was.
And Zai saw the police bike coming. He was at the bus stop at that point, almost an hour late. Saw the police bike coming, and you rode past him. You didn't even look in his direction because by now the school has called.
Yes.
And you were calling to find out why he hadn't picked up Shania and all of that, or met her on the bus. And you rode past him and turned around in the schoolyard, and by the time you got back to Zai, he was crying.
Bawling.
You hadn't said one word to him.
And I don't even think I needed to say much
Right.
when I rode up.
Right. So he already knew there were going to be consequences prior to that. Obviously, for him to be crying without one word being said,
Yep.
then he already knew, because
Yes.
he knew you have set expectations for your children, right?
Definitely. And I think that day in particular, I'm not sure if he was more upset about the fact that he had to stay behind and he knew I would find out, or he failed to meet his sister when he was supposed to.
Right. And then you're at the bus stop with your friends and your
she
mama comes by on a police bike and you're caught. And so he knew that there will be punishment. Do you punish your children? If they
I've
do
had
something?
to punish my children. Zara is still learning, right? she's the youngest of the bunch. But the rest, seldom, because they already know what I expect, and they knew what I expected from Zara's age.
Right.
So I didn't have to do the, go sit in the corner.
You don't do time out with your
I
children?
don't believe in time out. I don't. I'm a strong believer of, trying to say this in a very, in a very respectful way. I do not agree with abusing children, right? There is a point when disciplining children is outright abuse.
Yes.
But it is nothing wrong, in my eyes, with disciplining your children. And it could be just you talking to them, because it got to a point with me where I just had to look at them.
Right.
I look at them and they know, okay, mama's not playing, so
Right.
we need to do A, B, C, D. But I never believed in timeout. I'm laughing because I remember I was at a function and I heard a parent start counting. So they're, 1, 2, and then I laughed because I heard the child say 3, 4, 5, and I'm saying,
So
well,
they were counting to like, now behave, I mean it.
Right. So in my head, I'm saying,
That's
probably
not
would have handled
working.
that a little bit different.
Right. And then children get to know what you expect and what you're going to, and then if you're doing that counting and they say, okay, well, let me say 3, and then, okay, and then it's over. Sometimes, how much, you're going to count to 50 before they take you seriously?
I was waiting to see, like, what's going to happen here.
Right.
But I don't count, I don't time out, I don't do any of that. I say what I say and I mean it.
Right. And so if it's, if it's punishment, it could be taken away TV
I've taken
or
away
iPads.
iPads is a big thing. Social media, devices.
Right.
Take away a device, the whole world falls apart. But do what you have to do, and we don't have to do this.
Right. How important are manners to you?
Manners matter.
Manners matter. Right.
Manners matter to me. It's big for me. And it's something that I have taught my children from very young. You hear Zara now, and you give us something, and she, thank you, and I don't even have to say, what are you supposed to say? But I still say it.
Yes.
Even probably to Marley when they shop and she got somebody gives her something and I'm on it. Well, I didn't hear you. Like, what are you supposed to say? But she said it.
And the person says she said it. Right.
But manners are a big thing. Good morning. You walk into a room and you see people. Good morning.
Right.
I shouldn't have to say, did you say good morning?
Right.
And then even if I've seen instances where children don't speak, and I would hear the parents say, well, she's tired, or it's nap time, or it's this, or it's that, and
we're back to excuses.
Back to excuses. And some children may be genuinely tired, but you know what I tell Zara more so now, because the rest know what they have to do, but Zara does the whole, I'm so tired. I'm tired too. Yeah.
Right. Everybody's tired.
I gotta go work for 8 hours. I'm just as tired as you, but that doesn't stop me from doing what I have to do.
Right. And when we make excuses for children and we keep making, and they hear it, that means, next time I don't have to speak because my mama made an excuse. They may not know that that's what it is, an excuse. But if they say, oh, well, this is that and that, this is why they're not speaking.
Yep.
then they know next time, oh, I don't have to do it.
Yes. And it's so bad with me. If my children go with someone else, like let's say you took them somewhere and someone would be like, oh, I saw your daughter. She was with her auntie. The first thing out of my mouth, did she speak? Did she use her manners? Like that's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, because it shapes them for when they become older and for real life. So when they constantly hear you making excuses for yourself and then making excuses for them, it teaches them to be people who make excuses for everything. And copping out of things, right? Yes. So like you said, you could have told your boss, well, I have 3 children, 4 children, 2 children. I can't come to work because I'm tired or whatever the case is. It is a decision you made and that's what you do. So now you're leading by example.
Yes.
So someone said to you, I saw your daughter and she did not speak, what happens after that? Let's just say that happened.
In my head, I'm saying that can't possibly be true. That's not a thing, and it's never happened. But I can say that if it was to happen, or if someone did say that, we're going to have a conversation about it.
Right.
So when you're at the field, you saw so-and-so, what happened?
Right. And then there are consequences.
Yes.
Right. Your children are involved in a lot of extracurricular activities.
It's too much.
How do you manage that? So on top of working, earning the spa, school work, your daughters are involved in dance, including Zara. So all 3 girls are involved in dance extensively. How does that work?
So it has been a challenge for a few years. But at the end of the day, I don't make excuses, right? I do what I have to do. So
because you signed them up for dance.
I did. And at one point we were living in Devonshire, so it was kind of convenient, drop them to dance, go home, do what I have to do.
Town.
Right. And it was working out until we moved St. George's, and it's like, okay, if we go to St. George's, we're not coming back. So I've had to change a lot of things. So organization, we'll touch, I guess I was speaking about
that's
that.
where I was going to say, then that comes with a lot of organization, obviously, because if you're doing all of that, you can't just wing it.
Oh, I've never winged it. I
don't ever recall.
I have never winged it. I honestly can't wing it, but yes, having to deal with dance.
But hold on, let me, because I think we can spend a little bit of time on that, because I think parents look for ways to be organized. Yes. Parents need to know about structure. Some parents just honestly don't know about organization with their children, whether they have 1 or whether they have 8. They're looking for tips. So we're going to take a break and come back and finish or continue talking to Shantia, who is the mother of 4 and who is talking about parenting with a purpose here on Grown Folk Talk with Patrice. We'll be right back.